All right, morning, guys, or afternoon, guys, rather. I'm actually going to record this meeting today because I forgot to record any earlier in the day. Start off by going to your bell ringer. Well, let me start again. Hey, guys, how's it going today? How's everybody doing? That's good, Rebecca. That's good, Gage. That's good. Oh, so change before I can see who else wrote to me. Haley, I'm doing well. Michaela, good. All right, good deal. All right. So, your bell ringer today. Guys, you have a major test upcoming probably Thursday. Your bell ringer today is in the exact same format that the major test will be Thursday. The test is much longer, but your bell ringer today has 7 questions. You have 7 answer choices on each one: simile, metaphor, hyperbole, personification, imagery, alliteration, and allusion. In the 7 questions, each one of those answers will be right one time. Okay? I want to remind you that yesterday I put the definitions into your folder yesterday. So if you're not familiar with them right now, go back and pull up those definitions to do this bell ringer. I need you to learn those. Please understand that by the time that we take the major test, I will have taken that little study guide, that little definition sheet away from you. We'll take it out so you won't have it. You have 3 attempts today. The 3 attempts will show you every time what was right and what was wrong. I won't tell you what out of the other 6 what is right, but it will tell you what you got right and what you got wrong. I want you to be able to see that. You need to use this as a good measuring stick of what you know and what you don't know. Okay? Give me a yep if everybody understands. Good, Kaylee. I look forward to seeing you. All right, good deal. All right, it is 1:20. At 1:30, I will check in with you, and let's see where we're at. 10 minutes. Most of you will probably be finished with those 3 attempts. Get started. See y'all shortly. All right, guys. I spent more time on that than what I thought, but we still have a couple of people taking it. But we're going to go ahead and move on. So I tell you what. Give me one of those little emojis on your screen if you felt very comfortable with that quiz right now and have a feeling you're going to do very well on the test. Give me one of those emojis. Three people. 4. Okay. Guys, I'm going to go over a couple of things real quick, ways that I remember these and hopefully try to simplify it real quick. Assembly, is there anybody in here that wants me to go over assembly? Assembly to me seems to be the kind of simplest of the group. Is everybody good with simile? Anybody need me to go over similes? Easiest thing to say about similes, guys, is they're always going to have a like or an as there. Okay? It's a comparison. If you say something as simple as the boy likes the girl or the boys like basketball, that's not a simile. So be careful of just seeing a like and saying, okay, yes, that's a simile. It has to be a comparison between 2 unlike things. Okay? Metaphor is a comparison usually using is or are. Instead of saying she looks like $1 million, she is $1 million dressed like she is, whatever. Okay, it's usually is or are instead of like or as. Not always, but usually. Give me a yep if you're with me. Okay, I've got a couple. Good. All right, yeah. All right, good. All right. hyperbole. The first 4 letters of the word hyperbole spell the word hype. If you hype something up, you make it bigger than what it is. That's always the way that I've always remembered hyperbole. Hyperbole is an extreme exaggeration. An exaggeration, you're making something bigger than what it is. Okay? I've kind of laughed today. The way that I used to teach hyperbole to keep a smile on my face and honestly that kids kind of used to be interested in, I'm starting to tell them getting old because things are shifting again. Y'all don't do yo mama jokes anymore, do you? See, I come from the generation that created yo mama jokes, so I always thought they were kind of funny. Anyway, yo mama jokes are the best. What I've used for examples for similes for years. Your mama's so big when she sits around the house, she sits around the house. Well, no, of course, mama's not that big. But it's just a fun way to see the exaggeration. Walking down the street the other day, kicking a can, ask you what you was doing, you said moving. You're so poor. That's how poor you are. Anyway, yo mama jokes are a great example. But if anything is exaggerated, there's not really a word to look for that sets off a hyperbole, but it's not uncommon to see the word so in hyperboles. He's so excited his head's going to explode. He's so fast he can run to the kitchen and back and you'll never see him go. Whatever. Okay? So can be a little bit of an indicator for hyperbole. Remember that, okay? Any questions on hyperbole? This is a part, guys, that if y'all sit there and don't say anything, I'm not going to know. I'm going to think I covered it. And if you have questions, you need to ask, okay? All right, I'm going to move on. Personification. Kind of similar to hyperbole, the first part of the word tells me something. Personification, first part of the word is person. Personification is giving a non-human thing, human characteristics, giving a non-person, person characteristics. Here's the way I kind of simplify that down a little bit. What you're doing is you're giving a personality to something that doesn't really have a personality in real life. I told the last class a little story. I was amazed that y'all had never heard this story. Once upon a time, the wind and the sun were talking. It's one of those old tall tales, right? The wind and the sun were talking, and they were arguing over who was the strongest. And they decided, well, all of a sudden, as they're talking, this guy walks by, and he's wearing a jacket. And the wind looks at the sun and says, I tell you what, the way we'll figure out who's the strongest is whoever can make this man take off his jacket, that's the strongest. And the sun said, okay, sounds like a good idea. You go first. So the wind started to blow. And the man just kind of grabbed hold tight to his jacket. And the harder the wind blew, the harder the man held on to his jacket and wouldn't let it go. Well, finally, the wind gave up and said, okay, son, see if you can do any better. So the sun smiled at the man. Y'all ever heard the sun smiled at me? The sun smiled at the man. The more the sun smiled, the warmer it got. Before long, the man took off his jacket. The moral of the story is you are able to accomplish more if you smile rather than trying to force somebody to do something. I know it's one of those silly little tall tales, right? But it's a perfect example of personification. You're giving a personality to something that really doesn't have it. The wind doesn't have a personality. It's just a phenomenon of air going in a direction at a fast pace. Okay? Give me a yep if you understand. Okay, good deal. Imagery. if I asked you right now, can you imagine what sandpaper feels like? Give me a yep if you can right now in your mind imagine what sandpaper feels like. Okay. Ask a series of other questions, and I'm going to assume all these questions are yes, because they pretty much are. If I told you to imagine what mountains look like, or what the sunset looks like, or what the beach looks like, all of y'all could probably do that because through your experience you've seen these things. Okay? All imagery is the author describing something in a way that you can either imagine how it looks, tastes, smells, feels, or sounds. And that's usually based off of your experience. Okay? Now, imagery, the first word in imagery, image. Usually with imagery, we're talking about the sense of sight. Y'all ever read anything with me to where as you're reading it, the author is describing the way something looks and you can kind of see it? That is imagery. Okay? But it doesn't stop at sight. It also covers the other four senses as well. Okay? The example I always use, read a poem one time, lady put, it was one of those poems where, long story short, she cooked an apple pie. And the poet described the smell of the apple pie and then described the taste of the apple pie. And guys, I ain't gonna lie to you, when I read this back in high school, my mouth started watering because I could smell it and I could taste it because my aunt made one of the best apple pies ever. Well, this is an example of imagery. It's not sight, but it's smell and taste. Okay? If writing is done in such a way that it affects one of your five senses, that is imagery. Give me a yep if you understand. That is imagery. Okay, moving on. Illusion. And I'm going to type it in here. Not the illusion with an I, but the illusion with an A. And I've talked about illusion several times in this class. Illusion, the root word is allude. And allude means refer to. Okay? That's the meaning of the word allude. If the example I used in the bell ringer assessment, couple was walking down the hallway and I could tell they had been struck by Cupid. What do I mean when I say they had been struck by Cupid? Type it in. What do I mean when they had been struck by Cupid? They seem in love. Good. They like each other. Good. How do we know that? I mean, what about the word Cupid, the name Cupid, tells you that they're in love? Well, because in our world, we understand, especially like with Valentine's Day, Cupid is that little bitty angel that wears a diaper, and if he shoots you with an arrow, you fall in love with the next person you see, right? That story stems from Greek mythology, okay? An allusion is a reference to something in history, religion, pop culture, something. It's a reference to something else outside of the literature that you're reading. If I told you now, drop it like it's hot, does that really mean throw it down because it's burning your skin? What does drop it like it's hot mean? And by all means, guys, I'm hopefully brought a smile to your face, but make sure you're appropriate when you type in. Not drop it very quick. No. What does drop it like it's hot mean? It means dancing. It means dancing. Somebody said earlier it means dancing like nobody's looking. Okay? There was a song that came out, 10, 15 years ago. honestly, guys, I'm not even sure who sang it. Not really my style of music. But it became such a phenomenon that everybody now knows what Drop It Like It's Hot means. Before that song, Drop It Like It's Hot didn't mean anything. Okay? Drop It Like It's Hot is a reference, it's an allusion to that song that came out years ago that means dance. Kinda, yeah. Okay? Give me a yep if you understand. Okay. There are allusions all the time in the literature that we mean. Simile is a comparison. A comparison is definitely how things are alike. Contrast means different. Comparison means the same. So you're right, Gage. The last one was alliteration, and that's a repetition of consonant sounds. The alliteration, here's the best way I usually try to describe it. It doesn't have to be a tongue twister like Sally sold seashells by the seashore or Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. What it usually means is that the author purposefully put consonant sounds together, usually for a rhythmic effect. Okay? Like lump coal lighted. We read a poem a couple of weeks back, Mama is a Sunrise. It said, like lump coal lighted. She meant to put all of those L's in a row. And that's all alliteration is a repetition of consonant sounds. All right, guys, that's my review of these figurative language terms. Is there anything that anybody needs to know that they don't quite understand yet that I can go over? Going once. Going twice. Sold to the highest bidder. Okay. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Let me share my screen real quick. This is the first time I've done this type of exercise. So from what I understand, Miss McNabb does this with y'all all the time. Let's see. Let me get in here. I'm sharing my screen with y'all in case y'all aren't paying attention. Inside of today's deal, you've got this, my big brother. Well, if you click on my big brother, it's going to pop up for you to be able to do it. It's an individual assignment for you, okay? When you pop it open, come on, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you kind of got your little answer key down here at the bottom. Or not answer key, but what I want you to do. I can tell you inside this little silly story, there are 6 similes, there are 4 metaphors, 5 personifications, 7 hyperboles. Here's what I want you to highlight those, okay? Similes are yellow. Go back up to the front here. Well, I won't start with a simile. I'll start with a metaphor. Metaphors are red, okay? You can do, well, let me highlight it first. He is a cheetah on the basketball court. Now, this is a metaphor. You have a comparison between two unlike things. The comparison is I'm sorry, I had to get my stuff up in case somebody was chatting. He is a cheetah on the basketball court. Comparison between two unlike things. The boy that's dribbling the basketball, my brother Donnie, and a cheetah. Now, the comparison is how fast they both are, okay? But this is a comparison using the word is, not using the word like or as, so it's a metaphor. So I'm going to highlight it red. When you get finished doing it, pretty much every sentence in here, guys, is one or the other. At least most of them are. Not all of them are, but most of them are one of the 4 things at the bottom, okay? And you got a kind of little cheat sheet. It tells you how many of each that you have. So what I want you to do is go through here and recognize similes, metaphors, personifications, and hyperboles and highlight them and then change them to the appropriate color. Okay? I'm going to change mine back. Okay? When you finish, you've got the submit button somewhere. Y'all, like I said, I think y'all do this all the time with Miss McNabb. That's what I want you to do. It's 1:56. At 2:05, I'll come back on, and hopefully y'all will be submitted by that point in time. Give me a yep if you understand the instructions. All right, I'm going to quit sharing my screen. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to turn the recorder off. Y'all work on it till 2:05, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Go ahead.